Hailo is an app that I use very frequently, and I know many people do, and you've got a great takeoff in Ireland. What are your future plans?
Well, so basically, I think Ireland is a very good example. It was our first, Dublin was our first city that we expanded into after launching in London. We're 24 months old operational as of this Friday, so we're still a pretty young business. But in 19 months, this team, led by Tim, has managed to take this from nothing, really, to a business that has not only really made 1 in 10 Dubliners passengers, but also has 350,000 downloads in the entire country. We're now live in Galway, Limerick, Cork, and basically growing ultimately into every city. Ultimately, what we want to do with Dublin is a real good example of what we want to do with the rest of the world, which is capture the beachheads, capture the major cities and major hubs, but then find a way to basically engage the drivers that are not in those hubs to want to get on Hailo so they can get access to all of the people who are. And that's really the purpose of this network. It's really to provide drivers a better deal and passengers a better deal, but ultimately focused on, first on the needs of drivers, because that's where we came from. We were co-founded by 3 London taxi drivers who were the ones that actually came up with the idea in the first place.
And I mean, in cities like London and New York as well, there's a lot of competition in this space. So how do you think that Hailo stands out against the competitors?
Well, there was a lot of competition, don't forget, in Dublin as well. I mean, in Dublin we were the 6th or 7th app to launch. In London we were the 8th. Really, the reason we stand out is because we have a very unique view of the world that is part of our pedigree, which is to take care of we take care of the guy in the front seat, the driver, and that takes care of the guy in the back seat, the customer. So the more engaged you get the drivers, the more that you tailor your product and want it to be something that they want to use as a companion. You want it to be the first app that they download. The minute they get a smartphone or somebody gives them a smartphone, like their son or their daughter, they've got this app pre-installed. It is going to be the ultimate app for taxi drivers, and it already is in many ways, even apart from just giving them more business. But it's going to be the way in which it helps them reinstitutionalize their profession and basically have a better and more sociable shift in life.
And actually, what a lot of people in Dublin will point out is that the taxi drivers now love to talk about Hailo. Yeah. So they're very passionate about it. Have you kind of built? Would you see it as a community of drivers that fuel the brand?
Absolutely. It's the biggest comment. I mean, when I first came to Dublin several months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I got picked up. Took a driver from the airport, and he didn't know who I was. And he was selling me on this like you couldn't believe. How he got on it, and then he got his brother on it, and then him and his brother together went to their 75-year-old father and said, you gotta get on this, we bought your iPhone, this is the future. So unbelievably engaged. Why? Because the network belongs to them. It doesn't belong to us. It really is a way for them to directly communicate and connect with passengers. We're just facilitators. And really, this is a tool for drivers to regain their independence for a traditional segment of the market that doesn't really have a voice. And that, I think, is what's so powerful. And there are many, many areas beyond taxis where I believe that the platform we're building will be useful. Just don't ask me which.
And something that I noticed as a user is it felt like when I started using Hailo that every step of the way had been thought about and catered for. It was the user experience. Did you spend a lot of time planning that out?
Absolutely. Well, we spend a lot of time planning it out, and we spend a lot of time redoing it once the rubber hit the road, so to speak. And so we had an excellent team of people, and still do, that look at this constantly and continue to look at it and refine it. How can we do better? How can we do better? How can we do better? And really, that's what's led to to where we are. We have people, some of the smartest and most passionate people, both in Ireland and outside of Ireland, that are completely dedicated to making this work. This small aspect of people's lives, but only if we can change it, make it better for the customer, give them more control over their lives, then actually we make their day better and the taxi driver's day better because they make more money. Everybody wins, and we still manage to make a profit. That's a great business.
Certainly. And are there any plans? Well, I know there are plans, but are we going to see a Windows Phone app anytime soon?
Yeah, so look, we've remained totally focused, and that's the way that we've been able to be competitive. A lot of our competitors, some of which are no longer around, they spread onto every platform imaginable. We wanted to create the best experience for customers and drivers. We looked at the numbers, and Windows Phone simply didn't have the traction at the time, and maybe it will over time, to be able to actually, for us to design an entirely new app. Because what we don't do is, we've been agnostic for Android and iPhone since the beginning. And we've had equal teams working on this, but they're not the same app. They're built, they're designed in different ways. They are really, really meant to leverage the capabilities of each of those respective operating systems and hardware platforms. And we'd want to do the same for any other thing that we did. So it's a big overhead on our part. And right now, we want to remain focused on the mainstay of the market, but who knows what the future will hold.
And we're here at the Web Summit today. You can see behind you there are lots of startups here. What advice would you have for people that are just starting out, coming from where you come from, where it just kind of really took off all over the world?
It didn't. So basically, here's the thing. Every entrepreneur whitewashes in their mind over, they think it was just a successful beginning. It's never a successful beginning. Anybody who has done this business knows that those first couple of months are credit card solitaire to pay the bills, are talking to tons and tons of angel investors and VCs, all of whom say no, it's a stupid idea. You're at the point of desperation before somebody says yes. And really, that happened here too. To the extent where when I went through it, I said, oh my God, if I had known it was this bad the last time, I might never have done it. But I think that's the point. That's what entrepreneurs do. So my advice would be to endure, number one, and number two, it would be, don't be so hung up on the idea. Be hung up on the team. Find a team of people who you like working with, who you have expertise in a particular domain. Get going, and the idea will come to you, as it did in our case. Not necessarily from you or your brilliance, but from listening to the people around you. I'm a huge believer in that, and that's where most people get stuck.